So let's look as a DM, dealing with out-of-character knowledge, OOC knowledge, because this is an important part of the game, especially if you have a mixed D&D group, meaning you've got some players that have been playing D&D for a while compared to some players that are new to the game. And as a player, I've been playing D&D for a long time, and I have a lot of additions mashed into my head. But I have an idea of certain monsters and certain situations that I know about physically as a player, that Fritz knows about, but my character in the game, they realistically probably don't know about that. I mean, think about this as an adventurer. You're the avatar on the table. You've never met a beholder before. Now, you might do some knowledge. As a wizard, you might do a little bit of research. You might understand the mythology behind it. You might have heard rumors. You might have even seen a stuffed one in the Carnival Museum. But that first time you face a beholder, that's the first time as a character. But as a player, well, I've faced beholders many times. In AD&D when they were eye tyrants, I've faced them in 3.x. I faced them in the current edition of D&D, in the video games, everything. I know what it's going to do. I know to put the sunglasses on before the eye stalks start blasting you. Like, that's knowledge as a player. I don't want to bring that into the game. I don't want to let the other players at the table know, okay, look, so that eye there is going to do disintegration if we get hit. That eye there is an anti-magic cone. That eye there is going to deal electric damage. Like that, part of the fun in D&D is literally discovering it for your first time. I don't want to rob that, even though I'm not the DM. I'm the player right now. I don't want to rob that from the new players. I want them to discover. So you know what? You're the paladin. You're rushing forward. You get hit with that disintegration ray, well, you're dead. You failed your saving throw. We can't even res you because you're just a pile of ash. Although, you know, if you're playing D&D 4.0 or 5, you can just automatically res. But from that perspective, you learned a hard lesson. You created some good memories. I don't want to rob that. So I try to keep my out-of-character knowledge to myself. If we're facing a brass dragon, I kind of know what that dragon can do. I'm kind of aware of that breath weapon. I might try to protect my character. I mean, I can't have that knowledge completely not find its way in, but I don't want it to spill it out onto the table. I want to be mindful of where I am and what I've encountered and what I've done. Now, after I've faced that monster for the first time, my character, well, yeah, I'm going to be aware because I faced it. I'm aware of it. Now, from the DM's perspective, this is the challenge of dealing with out-of-character knowledge. And you might have a mix of veteran players and new players, or even if it's just a group of veteran players, you've thought up an amazing adventure. You have this amazing encounter. And the party has been working towards it all night. And these are all friends that you played D&D with for years. They face that, whatever that monster is. And immediately your friends are like, okay, page 63 of the monster manual. It's a Bodak. It has, well, Bodak would be like page 10 or 15, unless it's under the undead. But anyway, they would know all the stats. So like armor class this, treasure type this, hit points this, saving throw. Like you've got it memorized. And this great thing that you've been working towards all night, you're like, oh, I'm a little deflated as a DM. I put a lot of effort into this, and immediately my players, they know exactly what they're facing. So they're keeping the distance correct, or the cleric is quickly shifting blessings to protect the party. So what can we do with that? I try to describe the monsters based on what the characters would see in that encounter. So we have a picture of a monster. We have a description of the monster. I like to think of that monster as like, that's what it would look like in the museum. That's the perfect picture of it. But we're out in the game. We're in the wild here. So if you're in a cave, or if there's magical effects, or if it's ambushing you, your perception is going to be vastly different. So I won't lie. I won't say it's one thing, explain it one way, but then it's the other. But based in that moment, a displacer beast trapped in a cage looks vastly different than a displacer beast running through the jungle at night, a pack of them hunting and working together. That visually, assuming you see that, it's going to look vastly different. You might even think it's some sort of undead ghost type thing. So one of the ways you get around that as a DM and work with that is by explaining it, what the perception of the characters would be. And then, of course, that's modified because the players are going to come back to spot checks, knowledge checks, magical abilities, magic checks, and that will reveal more. Then obviously if someone has the ability for true sight and they're looking at a displacer beast, they're going to see through and explain it exactly what it is. And I might explain it like an oversized panther with more teeth and kind of these flaying arms that are thrashing about, in addition to its 4 feet. So explaining it that way, you don't have to read it from the monster manual. I mean, you can. I do sometimes. But adding a little bit of a spin on what it would look like, I find that keeps the element of surprise, and that works with players that have been playing for a while and have that out-of-character knowledge. As a DM, as a dungeon master, we can't control it. I can't cut it off, but I can work with the fact that some of the players or all the players have D&D experience. How can we keep it fresh? How can we keep it new? How can we keep the discovery exciting so that every encounter literally, even if it's by the book, same old stuff, is unique?